So, an entrepreneur can also own multiple businesses. They can be owner operator of, I'm not going to, they can be owner operator of those multiple businesses, but it's not advised. I've tried that. It's not the best idea because then you have no personal life. Like your business, when you start these things, will take a lot more time than you imagine. Okay. It'll take up a lot more headspace than you think. And if you are not careful, you will block out everybody and everything else to focus on your business to making sure that it works. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Small Business Success Talk. I screwed up the name of my own show. I had to re-record. So welcome to this episode of me losing my loving mind. This is going to be fun and interesting because today we're going to talk about what it means to be an entrepreneur. Now, full transparency, I recorded this episode already and I just didn't like where I took it. So I'm gonna rein it in a little bit on this one. You're welcome. And hopefully it works out better. The the journey of entrepreneurship. This show is small business success talk. Now, for small businesses, that definition is different across depending on where you're finding the definition for small business. The government has small business at a ridiculous level. Like you have 500 employees or less kind of thing. That's dumb. That's not small. To me, a small business is any business that does not require an HR department. To me, that's small business. Once you require an HR department, now you're getting into an on-site HR department. Let me be clear because it's good for anybody who has employees. Hire somebody that can help with some of those basic HR things, to have the outside voice, blah, 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 all the things that go into HR. But when you require an HR person on site, now you're getting into more of a medium-sized business because things get a little bit more complicated. So I might have my definitions wrong, but and then there's a micro business. A micro business is one, two, three kind of people, less than 10 is definitely small business, micro business. Um, Honestly, five or less is really the micro business. And then you have a solopreneur, which is the stage that I'm back at lately, in this particular season of my entrepreneurship. You have the solopreneur. Now, one of the things that I wanted to do this particular episode for, uh, was because I see so much bullshit out there that says you can be the entrepreneur that makes $1 million in 90 days from zero. I hate to tell you, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that shit just doesn't happen. So I don't like the fact that the word, the label entrepreneur has just gotten so kind of watered down, in our state now, and the way that we are. Because there are some entrepreneurs that are like this elite level of entrepreneur. More of they've created enterprises where they own multiple businesses. They have acquired other companies. That's there's a lot that goes into that. Versus the entrepreneur that owns one business and is operating that business. That is a business owner. That's a business owner. The entrepreneur to me tends to does have multiple starts. At least they've started multiple things. They may not be the one to finish them, might not be the one to operate them, but they have started the companies and then now it's running and it's a company, a business, a real business. When I say a real business, so there's different, and this is where when I started getting into this, there's a plinko board of rabbit holes to go down when it comes to defining this stuff, such as what kind of business do you really have? So if you're listening for the very first time, welcome to the show. Glad you're here. This show is all about spotlighting those business owners and entrepreneurs who are doing it every single day. Small business is the backbone of our country economically, and I want to give them a platform to share their story, best practices, and all of the things, all of the learnings, like what problems they solve for their market, what's jazzed them. I ask them similar questions, and just to be able to have those conversations with them has been an absolute highlight of my life. I love it. I've also learned so many different things by watching and listening to other podcasts and shows where you have entrepreneurs ahead of me on this journey. And those are the people who have made the millions of dollars, legit. They're multi-authors, they have shows. I'm not a celebrity. I don't have a celebrity background that got me to this. Because they're also celebrity turned entrepreneur. So picture it if you will. You've worked in a corporate environment or for somebody else for a very long time. You're in that spot and you're like, there's got to be more to the life than this. I'm miserable here. I just, I want to start my own business. Great. Now you're an entrepreneur. But are you? Are you? So to actually be the entrepreneur, there's characteristics of an entrepreneur that really help you along the way. So let's talk about the characteristics. I'm not even going to look at my notes. We're going to go with this. One of the first things you have to have is emotional resiliency. And I say that because shit is going to hit the fan all the time and it's your responsibility to take care of it. If you really want this to happen, the ownership of that is all on you. Emotional resiliency is a big deal because the level of responsibility is great. With great power comes great responsibility. And as an entrepreneur, if you are starting a business, there's a lot of things that go into starting a business that make it this weight and sense of responsibility. Who are you serving? What problem are you solving? Why do you want to be in this business in the first place? You get those three things figured out before starting anything. You have a cool idea. I have 50 cool ideas just from yesterday. But it doesn't necessarily mean I have a problem that I've solved or a person that I'm helping. So I can be an innovator and an idea creator, and all of it will stay in the drawer until I'm like, ooh, I have the solution for that problem that you're having. Let's pull this out. Let's do that. But for me, this is a lesson learned, y'all. Learn from this one. Learn from me. Just because I have an idea, I can launch an idea and nobody gives a damn. Nobody. So until you flip that around, which is what I'm doing now for a business that I'm going to be launching through my whole book ecosystem, it's who am I serving and what's the problem I'm solving by even doing this. Now, it's been a challenge for me because what I'm doing right now helps solve multiple problems. It's hard to get defined. So the other aspect of having some emotional resiliency is also having a growth mindset. Part of having a growth mindset is one, continuous learning. So you have to be open to learning new things, which means you also need to be open to the fact you don't know everything. And there's a lot of things you don't know that you don't know yet. You don't know that you don't know those because you've not come up on that particular challenge or issue or try to create that new thing. Where to start, you don't know. So when you finally click into the fact that you don't know everything and you are open to having this growth mindset so that you can continuously learn, You're going to be more innovative, which means you'll have more ideas to be more entrepreneurial with. See how that little system works? If you're watching the video, you've seen me do all of this little air stuff with because I talk with my hands just as much as I talk with my voice. So, emotional resiliency, growth mindset leads to innovation. That's typically the other thing that entrepreneurship really sets the pace for because an entrepreneur is prone to go start something new, solve the problem for the person you're working with, and make some money at it. Absolutely fantastic. Where the journey of entrepreneurship continues to develop is when that entrepreneur stays the business owner. Because an entrepreneur can start a business and let it go, like sell it and move on to the next thing. An entrepreneur can also own the business and not even work the business. I'm not there yet. Um, so an entrepreneur can also be an owner operator. What the challenge with that is the balance of the two, because those are two roles that you might be playing. So entrepreneurship is also a mindset that an owner operator can carry every single day. So it's not just a title, but it's a mindset. This is why all this other stuff goes into it. So as an owner operator, you're working the business every single day. As an entrepreneur mindset, you're open to growing it, you're open to scaling it, you're open to seeing what the legacy is going to be, if there is one. How do you continue to innovate this business to keep it long term? Or is this business short term? Are we here for a pet rock situation? We're in, make the money, get back out. I've known somebody who loves to be that entrepreneur. You get in, you do what's trending, suck it up for what everything that it's worth, and you come back out and you come back to the marketplace with something new. And that is what this person loves to do. That's his favorite thing, is just to go make money, not to have the longevity, but to just see the bank account grow. Great, own it. That's what you want to do with your version of entrepreneurship, you do that. So an entrepreneur can also own multiple businesses. They can be owner operator of, I'm not going to, they can be owner operator of those multiple businesses, but it's not advised. I've tried that. It's not the best idea because then you have no personal life. Like your business, when you start these things, will take a lot more time than you imagine. Okay. It'll take up a lot more headspace than you think. And if you are not careful, you will block out everybody and everything else to focus on your business to making sure that it works. So part of really growing as an entrepreneur is also understanding how to set those priorities for your life so that you are able to create some harmony in it. This is one of the biggest things that I've worked with my clients with over the years, is simply to take vacations and not feel guilty about it as business owners and entrepreneurs. To be able to step aside to say, I just need some time for myself. I'll come back to this. It'll still be there. It'll be fine. So, and I love seeing one of my clients, we're still Facebook friends because she's grown. She's grown past her business. There's been like we had worked and we got things set up. She started taking vacations, and when she started that, the business changed. And she's had to navigate that business over the years, and I've watched her from the sidelines. But now I've watched her create that legacy and this succession, and now she's not near in the business as much as she used to. So she's been able to do that. And it's because we sit down and said, let's make the decision of what you really want this to look like as a business owner. What do you want the business to do for you? Now, some people, when they become entrepreneurs, they don't take the time to think about what they want it to do for you instead of what you need to do for the business. There is an old adage that says you want to create a business that supports your life. But if you don't really have a decision on what you want your to experience with your life, then creating a business is your life experience. It just, everything becomes so nuanced and overlaid. It gets a little, it's hard to pull back all of those layers sometimes. Okay. So just know there's a lot of layers. And it's a roller coaster and it's like an onion on a roller coaster all at the same time. Just gonna say, just say that it can get complicated is, um, an understatement. Anyway, focus, Christy, focus. So we've talked about emotional resiliency. We've talked about growth mindset because all of those lead to innovation, which leads to more entrepreneurial ideas. Now, what kind of business are you going to have? Are you going to have the, when I say legit, I want you to understand for me, that is legal layering more complication. Legal layering, meaning do you have your EIN number? Do you have your tax numbers? Are you set up as a legal entity with your state or a state? Are you like doing tax deductions? Those kinds of things that create a lot of complication as like some people love to play in that area. That's not me. That's what a bookkeeper and accountant's for. They love that stuff. I just want to take a minute to thank the sponsor of our show, 502 Hemp in Louisville and 812 Hemp in Clarksville, Indiana. If you are looking for quality legal cannabis products, they are definitely your source. If you have questions of what would work best for you, their educated staff can help you choose the best product for your needs, like they did with me. I was having some real issues. One, my hormones were raging and I was raging all the time, just not in a very good place. And when I went into the store and I expressed everything that was going on, they asked additional questions that helped them get me to a solution. And the solution meaning better sleep at night, my inflammation's lower. I have been able to just be a better quality of life with my whole mental attitude because these things work great. My preference is the Maria products. That is a special blend that 502 Hemp owners have created themselves. And I use the Ultra Spectrum CBD gummies, the blood orange. It's 1,000 milligrams. Like this is the potent stuff, like meaning it's the highest milligrams I can get, and I need that for what my system needs. You may not need that much. They also have oils. And so I love the full spectrum here as well, but they have ranges, and according to what you're looking for to help in your body, they can help guide you in that way. So check them out at either 502hemp.com or 812hemp.com. Or if you're driving by, stop in one of the stores and they will absolutely be able to help you out. There's no need to wait for a medical dispensary to open. They have safe, reliable products now. And if you stop in a store, tell them Christy sent you, they'll give you 15% off. And not only that, but if you order online, 502hemp.com or 812hemp.com, and you put in that discount code of success, you'll also get 15% off. So check them out today. And I very much appreciate them being a sponsor of Small Business Success Talk. And they love that. I'm so super grateful that those people exist and have their businesses because that's not my business. And that's the other thing. I love seeing entrepreneurs who love doing what they do, and people gravitate to them because their passion is so high. And that is another key factor about being an entrepreneur is that you have the passion for doing what you do. Nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take that away from you. And nobody can deny you have passion for your business. And people are are drawn to that kind of energy. Now, the key is to grow your business, you want the right people drawn to that kind of energy. So you want your qualified leads. Do you have that defined as to who the qualified lead is? That is, who are you solving problems for? Target audience, all the work it takes to make the business actually work. So entrepreneurs that I've known over the years, we are all prone to we have great ideas, but sometimes the execution is a little murky. So I would highly recommend make sure you have some key players in your support system in place as you create new business ideas. One of which I've already mentioned is a bookkeeper and or accountant. You're going to need somebody to help keep your financials clean. You don't want to you don't want to dip life and business out of the same accounts. You want to track everything so that you'll know what your spending has been and where there might be some waste or where there's opportunity to grow. All of that kind of stuff. People who love the business of numbers will help you with. The next one is a a business law attorney. You need somebody to work with you on your contracts. You need somebody that you've created that connection with to help you with, let's say, trademarks and copywriting and patents and all of the things that help create your own portfolio of intellectual property. How do you protect your business? Those kinds of things you want an attorney to help with, but you want a business attorney, not a personal injury attorney. So you want to make sure you get the right kind of an attorney because they have their own things that they focus on. They are very specific with the problems they help solve. And the next is a business coach or mentor. Now, some business coaches out there are, depending on where you are at financially with your business, some coaches can be pricey and some can be absolutely free. So it kind of runs the spectrum. The best advice I can give you is interview your coaches for any area of your life wheel, whether it be a health coach or a spiritual coach or a business coach. Interview them. Don't take the first one that comes along unless you absolutely are like, this is it. Um, love at first sight kind of feeling, yes, you're going to solve my problem. Do your research. Even if you were going to be working with me, I would want you to do your research. I would want you to make sure that I'm a legit person who has credibility that I know what I'm talking about, which, 30 years of marketing experience and 20 in leadership training and organizational management. I've got a bit of experience on some things, but still recommend that you check it out because you may not be local and like you might be halfway across the world. Do the interviews because this person is going to be there with you as you grow. And they're going to be there with you with your ideas and all of the things. And your other person that you want to have is a good banker. You want to pick a good bank and you want to make sure you have a relationship with two or three of them at that bank because there's always some turnover in other businesses. So as you develop that relationship, those bankers can help you find certain kind of capital, or they may have different connections that they can be bringing you in places that you need because they are also a resource for other business owners. So they can cross refer in that sense. Now, the next place is your local chamber. Okay. Get involved in a chamber. If you are not the kind of business that would necessarily require a chamber, find a group of entrepreneurs, a business group, a referral group, something. There's Business Networking International, so BNI. That is a referral network. That's lead generation and referral network. That's going to cost you a little bit more than necessarily a chamber, which would have different formats of ways to network together and build those relationships. Get into networking groups. I don't care if you're just in your kitchen making cookies, you still need the association and relationship with other people who are doing business, making things and selling things and keeping that business going. So get in community with other business owners and entrepreneurs. One great resource out there that is free is Score. So if you've never heard of Score, look them up. There's locations all over the US, and these are seasoned entrepreneurs, business owners who have now donated some time to be able to coach and mentor you from your stage to your next stage. And they also have ways to provide other resources that you may not know about. So, highly recommend checking into that. So, even if you've been a part of this entrepreneur game for like 10 years, but you've not tapped into these things, or you don't have them in place, or you've been just kind of piddling around with this entrepreneur thing on the side, and now you're ready to get it set up for this business structure that could become a company that no longer needs you in it on a day-to-day basis, or you want to get it all set up so that you can EBITDA the hell out of it and sell it. There's also that option. So, what is it that you really want to do with business in general while you're at it? Then that's a decision that you get to make as the entrepreneur. That is also great responsibility with the power that you've been given. So, I want to wrap up this episode with the fact that one of the best things about being an entrepreneur is the fact that you have freedom to do whatever the fuck you want. And with this episode coming out the week of our 250th anniversary as a country in the United States of America, go US. Um, Entrepreneurship is one of those amazing ways to still fight for our freedoms because you have the ability and the capability, you have the ideas, and this country is the place to be as an entrepreneur. We're still the best on the planet to be an entrepreneur. Now, you can travel all over the world and you can do all of the things, but the concept of entrepreneurship with freedom is very American, and it's one of my top values. And it's one of the things that I continue to fight for while being an entrepreneur, starting businesses, creating programs and pathways for people to define their identities and their selves and find themselves again and make better decisions and have more confidence and kill that whole imposter syndrome gremlin that may be inside them. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to help with that. And I need freedom to do it because not everybody, if I worked in an environment that's like, we ain't got time for that, I would, I would, I would puke almost every day. I would cry when I go home every day. I already know how miserable I would be in environments like that. I have the freedom through entrepreneurship to no longer ever be in that kind of environment again because I get to make that decision and I get to do something about it. And that is really the coolest thing that we have about being entrepreneurs and business owners is that we're making the decisions. And while, yes, that bad decision, there's consequences, I also have the freedom to make it a better situation. I have the freedom to make a new decision. So, and act on it. And with that, my friends, thank you for sticking with me in this episode of Entrepreneurship and this whole show of small business success talk. I look forward to every episode, and I hope that you do as well. Thank you for keeping up with us. Thank you for sharing with your friends. Thank you for hitting that whole like and subscribe and all of the things to do to continue to scale the show and the awareness around it. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. And I will catch you on the flip side because I really don't know how to close out these episodes. Hardly ever. I don't have a great tagline, but thank you for being here and being a support of Small Business Success Talk. Catch you in the next show.